Hey everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 things I'm really glad we knew before we went to Tokyo. Now, our trip to Tokyo was absolutely unbelievable. We actually stayed in Tokyo for 8 nights. We did a lot of day trips to some places outside of Tokyo. And if you would like to watch all of those adventures, that entire video series can be found using the link above or down in the description box. I am really proud of how they turned out, and just the trip itself was just a game changer for me. Like, there are so many things that I feel differently about now, having been to Japan. It's very hard for me to put into words. And you know, it's something that I had heard from friends that had gone, and they said it just hits different, and they were 100% right. So the number one thing that you want to know before you go to Tokyo is there are not many, if any, public garbage cans. The only places that we saw public garbage cans were in the train stations. And you heard me correctly, not even in the public restrooms did I see garbage cans. And as an American, that was really surprising for me, but it was okay because I was prepared. All of my friends had told me this in advance. So I had actually brought several plastic grocery sacks with me. You could obviously bring any kind of a sack that you wanted to, and we would, whenever we would go to a restaurant, or maybe we would get something from a vending machine or whatever the case may be, 7-Eleven, which by the way, the 7-Elevens have everything, we would just put our trash in our little plastic bag, and then we would dispose of it when we got to the train station or when we got back to our hotel. It's one of those things, I have to admit, I thought maybe it was like an urban legend, that maybe that wasn't really true. And then when we got there, I was like, oh yeah, it's true. They don't have any public garbage cans. So just be aware, be prepared. Everyone in Japan is very, very tidy. I don't think I ever saw any trash on the street ever. So obviously it's not that they're not serious about keeping the streets clean. They just expect you as an individual to be responsible for that on your own. So bring your own little sack to dispose of your garbage and just, you know, be a good part of the community while you're visiting Tokyo. Number 2, and this one, again, I was like, really? But no, it's true. There are no paper towels in the bathrooms, and if, and that's a big if, they have a hand dryer, they have all been turned off due to COVID, and I don't think they've been turned back on. So what we did, and again, this was other YouTubers and friends had told me to do this, is I carried a small washcloth with me so that I could dry off my hands. You could carry, you know, you could use a handkerchief, you could bring some paper towels, whatever the case may be, but you're not going to have paper towels in the bathrooms there. This was true in high-end restaurants. It was true in public parks. The only place it wasn't true was at the Disney parks, where things were pretty much like they are in the US Disney parks, so that didn't really surprise me. But everywhere else we traveled in Tokyo and outside of Tokyo, no paper towels. So if you want to be able to dry your hands after you wash them, you're going to want to bring a small towel so that you can take care of that. Okay, number 3. On escalators, stand on the left. We were frequently leaving Tokyo Station in the morning during rush hour, and the busyness of the train stations cannot, and you know, I've been in Chicago train stations, New York train stations. Tokyo train stations are next level, and I have never seen people move so fast. They walk with purpose everywhere that they go. It is not at all unusual to see people running at full speed. Somehow they don't run into each other. I don't know how. It's some kind of magic. But number 1, when you're in the busy train stations, make sure you're staying out of the way, if at all possible. Like, don't stop in the middle of the train station and pull out your phone or look at a map or whatever. But also, and this is very important, when you get on an escalator, stand on the left. People on the right will be passing, and it's a very big deal. I won't say that I saw anyone get glared at, but there were a few times where you could definitely tell that it was Americans or Europeans or somebody that was not understanding that that is the protocol. And especially as a tourist, the last thing I want to do is impede the passage of someone who's trying to get to work. So I was very diligent, and a few times my son had to remind me, to the left, and I would just quickly move to the left. Now, if you want to pass, that's fine, but when they pass on the right, especially during rush hour, you better be prepared to move, because that is That is some next level cardio activity going up the escalators in Tokyo Station, like nothing I've ever seen. Very impressive. Okay, number 4. Now this one could be kind of embarrassing if you don't know this, and I think I did mention this in my Q&A video. Wear socks. And if you're not going to, ladies, if you're not going to wear socks, like, or guys too, if you're wearing loafers or something and you don't want to have socks on, make sure you have some socks in your bag. Because if you go into temples and shrines, if you go into certain, tea houses, restaurants, they will ask you to take off your shoes. I think that is less of an issue now than maybe it was a few years ago. But I will tell you that pretty much every day there was some place we visited where we were taking off our shoes. So you don't want to be that awkward Westerner standing there in their bare feet. Number one, because ew. And number two, it just is obvious that you don't know how things work. So sometimes it's in a historic place, like when we were at the castle in Kanazawa, and it's because the floors are very beautiful and it's just a matter of, trying to keep the space in as good a shape as possible. Other times, like in the case of temples and shrines, it's something done out of a matter of respect. We've actually adopted that here at our house. We don't wear shoes in the house anymore. We started that a long time ago, but when I was growing up, we always wore shoes in the house. And in Japan, that is an absolute no-no. And it's not because they're being, bizarre. It's because you bring in so many germs on your shoes. So it's actually a really, really good practice, but I wouldn't want you to get caught embarrassed because you get to a museum and they ask you to take your shoes off when you walk in the door. Okay, number 5. And this is another one that I'm really glad someone had told me in advance. Some of the best shopping and some of the best food can be found in the train stations. All of the major train stations have amazing restaurants, amazing shopping. It took me a few days to realize how many things were actually in Tokyo Station itself. I was stunned. In fact, I was looking for the Longchamp store, and there is a small Longchamp store at Tokyo Station. And I was on the 16th floor, I think, of the Marinucci Hotel. I put it into the GPS and it was trying to tell me I was there, and I was so confused. Well, it's because the Longchamp store was like on the 3rd floor underground of Tokyo Station. Also, that is where we got the best Chinese food, the best Indian food, the best Italian food, the best French bakery, the best cheesecake, the best cookies. I was stunned at what you could find in these train stations. Every single one of them had a beautiful mall with super gorgeous things. I think I talked about this in the Q&A video, but there is such a strong culture of gift giving in Japan that it is set up for you to shop. So it's kind of a shopper's paradise. So of course you can go to Ginza, you can go to the high-end stores and you can do all of that. Or you can just do all your shopping at the train station and you'll be shocked at the beautiful things you're able to find. Okay, now number 6 is kind of a bonus. I said 5, this is number 6. This is for my content creators, my TikTokers, my Instagrammers, my YouTube creators. Always check the signage about whether or not it's okay or not to film. One thing I found really amazing as a content creator in Japan is everywhere tells you not only if you can't film, but also if you're welcome to. They will have a big picture of a camera and like a big green check mark. And it was just very reassuring, especially since I was in a foreign country. I didn't speak the language. Some museums I walked into, big sign said no filming. Okay, easy. Others, big sign said filming, and sometimes I would still even ask. And if it was allowed, they actually seemed super enthusiastic about the fact that I was filming. So don't be shy about asking if you're unsure, but the best part was it was so obvious everywhere I went. And of course, you're not going to be a jerk and film when you're not allowed, right? Because you would never do that. I know, you would never do that. So thank you so much for watching all of the Japan vlogs. I have been overwhelmed with the enthusiasm. So many of you that are from Japan that are watching these vlogs. I hope that you guys will stick around as I go on different adventures. I'm actually leaving in just a week to go on a Mediterranean Disney cruise. So I'll be bringing you all of those videos. I cannot wait. It's going to be an amazing adventure. But my trip to Japan is still just living peacefully in my heart, and I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to go. Whatever you're doing today, I hope you're being really good to each other, and I'll see you next time. Bye!